There she is. She's our what's it called? The like if you're like the Ellerhorst rattlesnakes or you're the Mendenhall moles, you know, she's our whatever that's called. So today, what is that called for Pete's sakes? I'm gonna brain fart. Today we're gonna look at a bunch of quilts and I'm gonna talk about quilting. And you guys have been sending questions into Brandy, and I super appreciate that. You just say send to Alex, and of course Brandy is customer service at thequiltshow.com, and just keep bringing them on that way. She feels bad for me and I feel bad for her, but if she doesn't have to read the questions, that would be fabulous. So here's the thing, I got a haircut yesterday. It's a good cut, but I washed it yesterday. So how it works is Lindsay does it in her carport thing, you know, and she does a dry cut, and then she puts the juice on, and then she puts the shower cap on, for dyeing it, and then you drive home and just pray you do not get in a car accident, because between the mask and a shower cap that's clear smashed to your head, it's a sight for sore eyes, I will tell you. I should take a picture next time because it's pretty bad. But I came home and I washed it, I styled it. And then this morning, normally on Monday, I've told you before, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I wash my hair. Well, this morning, I was shot into Wednesday like a cannonball. Adair needed help getting the kids to school. And yes, she's very lucky. She has, William is in preschool, and that preschool has run all summer long because pretty much it's essential workers, kids that go there. And everything I've seen there has been sterling on how they're handling the whole thing. I mean, amazing. Every little detail you could think of. And then the gal that owns it decided that she was going to bring in TK and Ks. And how she's doing TK and Ks is that I dropped Lennox off today. I dropped them off today. So this is how I saw this stuff. They have the auditorium. They have like little learning pods of 4 desks. All right, I can't remember, but anyways, everybody has their own little cubby with their name in it. And then what they do is, like, this pod might be Sunset School. This pod might be Arroyo. This pod might be another school, Smith School. And then they do have a teacher in there, and the teacher is helping facilitate the learning that is going on between the student and their real teacher. So I'm impressed. Then they do their bit. I think kindergarten does like 3 hours or something like that. And then they can go into their regular daycare and carry on as normal. That way, when the parents get home from their essential jobs, they're not having to deal with the kids and their homework when everybody's exhausted and all that. So I say, yay, congratulations for figuring that one out. I love you guys. Free to be me. If you've got young kids in this area, get on the waiting list. It's probably 2 to 3 years. When Adair found out she was pregnant with William, she got him on the waiting list. It's just the best, okay? Free to be me in Livermore. Okay, so I got some questions, and then we're going to look at the quilts. I cannot believe what you people are doing. And I just scratched the surface. But anyways, thread color when quilting. So what Diane Schweikert does, who does a lot of my long arm quilts, will go there and she'll just put thread on top of the quilt top, just kind of lay it out a little bit. And that's what I do. I would have thought maybe I wanted white, but it became too stark against the solid colors. So I went with a gray on top is what I'm using. And yeah, in some areas it stands out more, but I think it's a nice thing that pulls the variety of value there. John's already come in. Mascot. It's called a mascot. That angel is our mascot, okay? It's already the end of the day, and it's only 10 in the morning here with all the crazy running around that's been going on. All right, as far as when you're using finer threads, and you know how much I love my 80 weight and my bobbin, do you have to change the tension? It depends on your machine, okay? My machine, my 765, no problem. But another machine of mine might have a problem. So all I do in changing the tension, I never fiddle with my bobbin. I change the top. And what I typically do is, okay, let's say your tension is normally set at, I don't know, 5. I don't know. Let me see. Let me turn on my machine and maybe I can tell you. Oh, it's 2.0 default on this machine. So I open it up and I never knew which way is opening it up or tightening it up. And then this little rhyme went into my head. O is for open, 0. So if you go down from 2, it's going to open up the top. 10 is for tight. And so if you want it tighter, you go up. Okay? Chances are, if you're going to have to fiddle with your tension, you're just going to want to open it up a little bit. And how you know you've got it right is if the stitches are beautiful on both sides. So yeah, sometimes you have to fiddle with your tension. Don't think twice about your top tension. Don't even think twice about doing it. Do it. Okay, then I got a thing on pre-registering for the basket class. Nope. It's just like this. Just show up and you're in. It's free. Please help me pass the word. It's going to be very, very traditional this round. And the blocks are over there, so I'll show you Friday. It's from the same book. If you were not interested in doing this and didn't buy the book, but you're interested in the baskets, please get this book at thequiltshow.com. You can get it in print and or you can get it digitally. And it's very, very inexpensive. And you can see here how much I love this stupid, it's not stupid, I love this book. I wish it had my name on it. It does have my testimonial on the back. That's how much I love this book because I don't really do those much. Okay, and then as far as for the basket blocks, will fat eighths work? I would look at them as a starting point. There is one 12-inch basket in there, and a fat eighth is not going to cut the mustard. So let's say I've got a fat eighth bundle of just stuff I love. Just add other stuff to it, and you'll be fine. It's like with the Kaffe. What did you have? You had 6 half-yard cuts, and then you had however many of the solids that were quarter yards, and I know a lot of you added to it. So again, I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm going to sew on it very vigorously next week. I've set aside some sewing time, but I also want to quilt this too. And yes, we are going to talk about quilting today. So Barb asked for 6-inch finished setting. Whoops, what do you do for your setting triangles? Well, Barb, go to the back of your book on page 126, and it tells you what you will do. So for the 6-inch for cut side triangles, like that would be the quarter square, it's 9 3/4. And then cut triangles for the corner squares, it'd be 5 1/8. And that would also work for those sawtooth that are going on behind me too. So just use this book. I think one of the confusions, Barb, for you is that when they say 6, that means finished, all right? They whenever you see a number in quilt making, it means finished. And if it's 6-inch finished, it's 6.5 raw. Half is that magic number. Oh, Nancy, you asked a really good question. And honestly, I don't know that I can really give you the right answer, but I tell you how I would do it. Nancy wanted to know if she is going to do a 60-degree grid, okay? So she's going to find the 60 on her ruler, all right? She gets it on her quilt the way she wants it. But then what does she do after she marks that line? I learned a long time ago that if you have a ruler and it's on the mark, you can take another ruler and butt it up to it and essentially walk yourself across the quilt, just making sure that this is butt up evenly to it. I would probably do it on a table and not on a wall, but that's how I would do it. If anybody has a better idea, give it in the forum, please. And speaking of the forum, again, let's go. Let's go look. So this is Woodsy's quilt. And we've watched Woodsy work her way through this whole quilt, haven't we? It's fabulous. And then when I looked at it, I go, doggone it, she's done it. And then look what she did in the border. As fabulous. And you guys, this is how I get ideas. Don't be surprised, Woodsy, if you see something that I've done that's got this kind of tumbling, joyful border. This is Dee-Jaw. Now she is still waiting for a couple more blocks. Hers is still in progress. This is where the excitement starts and the scariness starts, and it all comes together as one. And this is super fun. I like the way you're blocking the different Kaffe or brassica colors together. This is Helen. Oh my gosh, Helen. Just, oh my gosh. When I saw this, it was like, you have got to be kidding me. This is what I miss about being in-person classes. I'm sure she did this on her computer program. I think she said she had a pattern of it and then she gave it away to somebody, but she worked this up. Now let's see what she did. Yep. Now, you still have to sew it, Helen, but this is, I think everybody just got their socks knocked off if they're wearing them. This is Paola. Oh, this is hilarious. Okay, so I looked at this and I thought, oh my God, I don't know what to say about this. I thought it was your top, but it's her back. I love it. I love it. She's put, you should see my face when I first saw it. Oh. And then I read it, and I felt like such a dodo bird. So, look, you got all this extra fabric. Have at it. Now, if you do this, you guys, something crazy like this, use a cotton batting or an 80-20. Don't use a poly or anything like that, as it could show through in your whites. But I can't remember what the top of your quilt, maybe it was the black one. I don't remember. But if you've got dark, vibrant backings like that and a white top, be very aware of what batting you put in between to help opaque the color. That made me happy. Oh my gosh, and this made me, oh, you guys are killing it, man. You're absolutely killing it. This, I think, wasn't it Sharon Craig that brought all of this to us? The wonky, turny, and all of that. I'd forgotten about this sort of thing, or maybe you thought of it yourself. I don't know. I'm pulling this thing closer to me. So much fun. Oh, and then Donna said that she used one of my fabrics in with Kaffe's. So I am hanging out with Kaffe in her quilt. There it is. That was a good line, by the way. Oh, I don't miss designing fabric at all. All, especially right before market. When you gotta make all these samples. Okay, and I can't even remember what these things are coming up, but let's take a look. Oh, JB, she said, I fell in love with the flying geese. So she just went to town. This fabulous. And I have used a ziggy-zaggy border like this before. You can do it with half square triangles quite easily. And I have the feeling you did those with those flying geese units that you just went nuts with. So how fun is that? Okay, and this is Lindy's. She was gonna, I believe, let me move this down and see what the next slide is. Yeah, she was going to set it off to her quilter, and then she thought, well, let's just wait and see what I have to say today. I want to point out that she has added the solids on her setting triangles. Fabulous. I would not have thought of that. But also note on her border how it's not just one fabric, how it's many fabrics. And I do love that in my quilts. I think it just adds an element of surprise. I want my quilt so that if people come up to it, they have to sit there for a few seconds and think about the whole thing of what I've done. All right. So yesterday was tool school. There were some concerns that were coming up. It was really an RNK event of which we promoted it at the Quilt Show. Your products are being shipped directly from Knoxville, Tennessee. So if you call Brandy, she is just going to give you this phone number, 865-549-5115, or info@quilterselect.com. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If there were some concerns you have, please do email it, because we'll do these again. I mean, they're just fabulous. And yes, there are kinks that have to be worked out, and we're very aware of it. So Justin lives in the Houston area. Guess where he is? With his mom. He's in Austin in a hotel room. And he said, it's, I think, a La Quinta. Of course, it's sold out. And he said there's probably more dogs there than people because it's a dog-friendly hotel. But I just hold all of you in our prayers right now. I mean, we've got to get 2020 in our rearview mirror. It's just been something else. I mean, while the smoke is clearing here, the fires are still roaring. Yay, no more lightning. Now everybody down in the Gulf is dealing with it. So, Justin, I'm praying for you, and I know everybody else is too. And he was actually more concerned about losing electricity, so because it's so dang hot there and all that. So, okay, let's talk about quilting a quilt like this. I would say this is a fairly busy quilt. Would you not agree? So when I have a busy quilt, I know that quilting is not really going to show. Maybe in the border, maybe I could do like a cable or something like that. Oh, Montana has fires too. Is this just to look at other people's quilt? No, Juanita, we're going to get learning right now. So just so you know, if you're new to this, I always start off with what you're sharing, what's going on, and then I get into the lesson so that people have time to get on. So this is a busy quilt that I made 100 years ago, and it doesn't have solids like the one we're doing now, but if I do any fancy quilting on it, I can tell you right now, it is not going to show. So I came up with this. This is not what I'm doing, and I'll share, 100 years ago. And what it is basically you do soft curved lines. If you look at the bottom left, that is too sharp of a curve. You get some weird shapes going on, and I'll show you how to do it in a second. But soft curved lines, and then you echo those lines. And I'll tell you right now, this is great for hand quilting and machine quilting because it is extremely, extremely forgiving. So how I do that, or if I were to do that on this, I put the quilt on the wall and take a look at the top. I would draw in with a pen that is not going to disappear in 48 hours, a marking tool, those soft curved lines. Even the one in the upper right, that's a little bit tight for me, just a little bit. Okay, then let's go to the lower left. The first thing I would do if I were machine quilting is quilt those main veins, for lack of better words. And then I would do section by section in echo, and I would probably work as much from the center out as I can. Now we did a whole unit on quilting design. If I have soft curvy lines, I want something geometric in the border. So that is one way to handle it. It is not how I'm handling this. You guys know I am super into straight line quilting. And so I just kind of want to go through just maybe 6 or 7 images on that. And then I want to tell you exactly how I'm doing this. All right. So this is a quilt by Jackie Gehring, and she's the one that introduced straight line quilting to me. And I've spoken about her on other podcasts here. Her show, Google it if you haven't seen it. And I think it's the 3rd segment where we get into quilting. But to me, the show was absolutely phenomenal. Jackie Gehring. Might even be a free show. I'm not sure. Remember, we are the bargain of the universe, $19.95 for 6 months. So after unlimited viewing while you are a member. So anyways, here is this little sample that I did, and I was so moved by Jackie's instruction that I thought I'm going to straight line quilt it. And honestly, people, this was my first foray into it, and I absolutely love it. Straight line quilting, while it sounds like it's easy, yeah, it's not. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to actually quilt on Friday. Okay, you guys? I'm trying to find where I'm at in my program. Now, as far as straight line quilting goes, Jackie shared this also. You can do like soft curves and kind of consider that as a grid. And again, notice how I've mixed the geometric lines in the squares with the background of this serpentine stitch, I think is what it's called. And what it is on my machine, it's number 4. If it's not serpentine, somebody please correct me. But what I do is I just open up the stitch wide and lengthen it up, and then I just do my thing. You just do it. Let me get rid of this one. And there you go. Jackie said the first time she did it, she tried to manipulate it by hand and realized, well, that's not going to work. So this is the first big straight line quilting quilt I did, and you can see that it's on the diagonal. Now, what happened was, because it's on the diagonal, the edges rippled like a potato chip. So not to be redundant, but for those that you are new, I ended up having to cut off the binding, and I faced this quilt, but first I did a slight gather so that it would not be like a potato chip on the edge. Also in the middle, you can kind of see it on the bottom right-hand star in the middle. I did the serpentine stitch going straight across. So I'm trying a new thing with this diagonal quilting on this quilt behind, and I'm hoping it works. Remember, it's a mystery. So what's going to happen when you straight line quilt is you can get ripples like this, especially if you're working on a diagonal. So what I will do is I will periodically iron it and just go and iron it, and then I go back to my domestic or my Q20. So this one, I actually thought about doing something like this on the quilt. And here, I'll show you another picture of a similar quilt right here. And then I decided against it because I wanted to be more true to the angles on the quilt, arbitrary. So how I would have done that is I would have put up blue painter's tape, and then I would have quilted those lines, kind of tacking it all down, and then I would go back and do it section by section and just have the stitches going in different angles. You know, I'm going to go back to the black one because I think you can see it better. Yeah, see how they all just kind of go in different angles, and one neighbor is always different than the other neighbor, okay? So let me step back here and show you what I decided to do on this quilt. So to me, this is where you kind of get in the weird world of Alex. This is a fairly masculine quilt to me, okay? The one we did before, Sequoia, was more feminine, and so that's why the lines were softer. I want to keep these more masculine, and I decided what I wanted to do was well, let me just take tape and show you what I'm doing. I divided it here. Oh, wait. I did something else first. The first thing I did was I went and I quilted right in here around the edge. And I did that wondering if that would help with the potato chip situation. And then I remembered I took a machine quilting class from Margaret Gear, 35 years ago. And she always said, secure this inner border. All right. So then what I did is these ones, I'm going this way. And then this part, I'm going this way. So let's say I have secured the inner border. The next thing I did was I'm going this way. And I in the ditch, right in here. I am dividing and conquering the quilting space. I did not do that with that other quilt, and that too may have been the problem. Then what I do is I go in, so here, right here, the next thing I would do is I would take my my purple disappearing ink pen. Goes away, like if you're gonna do it and then know you're gonna quilt it within a day or two because it will go away by itself. I have to go on this side. So then what I'll do is I know that these are 6 inches. So I'm going to take my ruler, and there's half of 6, half of 6. Well, I know that's it. That's it. Okay, then what I'll do is I will mark it. Here, I know my butt's in the way, but I don't know how else to do this. Come down here. And a lot of times there'll be things you can aim for, like this right here, like this, but other times there won't, and you have to just get those lines in there. So then this would, ooh, I'm off there, but I would quilt in there. I would do this on the table, you guys, okay? And then I would quilt this. Okay, now the 6 inch has been divided to 3, and then I would quilt that, and then I would divide, so that would be 1.5. And then when you get into the really fine ones, I can just go put dots in and do that, and then just follow that line. I do use my little machine quilting ruler, and I'm looking for it. It's not over here. It's thick. It's thicker. No. I better be able to find it when I go over there to quilt today. As if I'm in a polite, well, no, this is a pretty big sewing room. So I will use my machine quilting ruler. It's thicker, and I'll run along that. I am doing it on my Q20, but what I thought I might do on Friday is talk about how I'm doing it on my Q20 as well as how to do it on your domestic. On your Q20, you are going to need the thicker foot, but I'm sure you have that. On your domestic, you might very well have a ruler foot, but you might want to take advantage of your walking foot, okay? If I were on my domestic, I'd be using my walking foot and my ruler. So that is what I'm going to do on Friday, if that sounds like a plan to you, okay? The really good news is Editus Fabric came in. I might have shared that Monday. And so they're being cut by like mad. Then the next couple weeks, I'm going to do studios, tours, and then I'm going to take a week off, okay? And then we'll start in with the basket quilt. I'm really excited about it. This has been really good. This has been really, really good. I want you guys to feel free to ask me questions. And again, you go to customer service at thequiltshow.com. I'm wondering if John has any questions for me. Okay, Carmen says, yes, that's a plan for Friday. And don't feel like you have to have a fancy machine. I mean, any sewing machine will do this, but okay, another question that will come up, and I'll probably repeat it. People say, okay, hold on, I got 2 things. Okay, what was I going to say? I forget. Oh, even dual feed, okay? If your machine has dual feed, in my book, that does not substitute your walking foot. It just doesn't, okay? So I'm sorry if you don't have a walking foot, consider springing for it if you're working on a domestic. So these things are Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 o'clock Pacific time, and I try and keep it to a half hour. I'm doing okay. And we just go on these journeys together. And then sometimes I get emails and people say, well, okay, I'm coming in late to the party. Oh yeah, I got something else to say about this party. I'm coming in late to the party. Don't worry about it. Go to the front page of thequiltshow.com, go down, and then you can just start watching and sew along. John, those things aren't going anywhere, are they? No. Okay, the other thing that has happened in cutting fabric, when we cut fabric, sometimes there's weird pieces left over, etc., or we don't have all of one collection or whatever, but there apparently are some brassica, some solids, etc., that if they're not up in the store, they will be soon.
We'll put something up on Facebook.
We'll put something up on Facebook when it's time. So, and the edit to fabric is not up yet. When it's going to be up, it's going to be when it's ready to ship. And oh yeah, John's got to go to the chiropractor. Oh, he goes, I gotta get out of here. We'll let you know. And I liked the thing of like 10 o'clock California time because man, we really goofed on this one. Okay. Do you stitch next to the blue tape? You not on this. I would take it off. But on the other ones, yeah, I just stitch next to the blue tape, and it can get kind of funky and weird. I know. Let's see. Fabric, kit, baskets, how cut yardage. I think what we're doing is quarter yard cuts on the baskets. You might want to get some other neutrals to go with it because you may need that for the background. So far, so good with what I've got. But I don't know how many pieces are in there. I don't know. I'm sorry. That's not my department. Has Tulip Pink 770, what is the best presser foot for piecing? Oh, there's two you can choose from. I do like the even feed, the dual feed. So you can use a 37D or the 97D. I used to be a complete fan of the 37D, but now I'm kind of liking the 97. But more importantly is make sure you've got a single hole throat plate. As you get into these larger machines and they've got wider feed dogs, it just is not your friend. So get one of those. I probably steer to the 97D unless it comes with the 37D. But the hole in the plate is the most important thing. Okay. Anything else? Everyday regular sewing machine. Yeah, you can do this with everyday regular sewing machine. If you think about it, you guys, many of Ricky's award-winning quilts. Note, I'm not saying mine because mine don't win. He would machine quilt on the regular little quilt that we used to, our quilt machine that we all used to have. So in fact, if you even go to thequiltshow.com and type in for search Ricky Timms, look and see if he didn't do a little segment on it. The super seminars, he really explained it beautifully, like how to fold the fabric, how to do this, how to do that. No, you don't need a fancy machine. When setting the blocks, do you make each block on point and then sew across? Yolanda, we went through this the other day, and I probably would do it that way now. I stupidly did it so that I had to sew on the diagonal, and it's not stupid. It's just I probably would have gone straight across. So, there we go. When you walk, oh, Connie, good question. When you use the walking foot, should you reverse direction every other row? I learned, and that's what Jackie told me. It's more important to divide and conquer. The other thing I'm going to tell you, though, is if you get into machine quilting, and this is what I learned from Diane Gaudinsky when I got a private lesson from her, as I completely was not set up properly. My dad took a door and we put it on shelves from a kitchen, and then he cut something out in front. He cut it so I could put my machine down. But when you're machine quilting, let's see, I like that there's this right here to help weight the machine. Before, this just went straight to the edge and it was not good. So I ended up buying a table. I have a horn but there's lots of really great tables out there. I mean, just really great. And then often they have side wings and things like that. But if you're working on a regular machine and it's just up with its little bed, it is going to be more problematic for you. But you can do it. I mean, we've been doing it forever. Okay, we're just a little spoiled now. So, okay, you guys, I'll see you Friday. I'll do some stitching on the machine, and then we'll get into studios and then baskets. So have a good one. I am going to go quilt on this quilt. Bye-bye.